Sam, I also wanted to ask you about international trading. Are there any recommendations or maybe things to think about that you would propose for traders who are outside of the US and trading US markets?
So I think the first thing you have to think about is time zone, and how that affects you, and perhaps the changes that you need to make to your day. So, for example, and like all American-based traders will think this is amazing because I get up at like 9 o'clock in the morning. My typical day is I get up at 9 o'clock, which is equivalent to 4 a.m. US time. But I don't rush. I don't tend to rush to my screens or anything like that. I tend to just chill, have breakfast. I tend to work out, and I'm trying to be at the screens for midday, which is 7 a.m. US time. Obviously, then I'm getting prepared for the day. So the market opens at 2:30 in the afternoon. And I think it's just something to consider because like it's difficult because like I have rugby training Tuesday, Thursday night, so I only have half a day's trading. If you've got plans one evening because the market closes at 9 o'clock our time, so I think you just got to think about how it affects your life. But other than that, like I don't really see any negatives, to be honest. Um, I know some people will have difficulties with brokers and things like that, but in the UK, we have pretty good access to everyone. There's not really any limitations. So I suppose those are the two things that I would think about, and I suppose it's just about like adjusting your life to trading. And like for me, I used to work out mostly in the evening, but I know now that actually I'm better off working out in the morning, getting it done. I actually tend to think I trade better when I do work out early. Um, and I suppose it's just about adjusting everything around trading and just making trading the focus.
Do you also have the equivalent of like a pattern day trader rule where you have to have a certain amount of money before you could make X amount of trades per week or per day?
So, well, yes is the short answer, but like there are ways like around it. But like most of the big brokers anyway have the same. It's exactly the same. So you still need to deposit. Like I think starting is, but most of them is like 30,000. There's just a few. Like Trade Zero is pretty good for Brits just because you can start. I think from a really small account. I think you can start from like 2,000. And like going back to what we were talking about to start with, actually, I wish I'd done that. Just started really small. I don't know, risking 10, $20 a trade, whatever, $50 a trade, just to get used to it and get that consistency. And so, yeah, I suppose from that point of view, it's the same, but I think we do have an added bonus of perhaps it's slightly easier with places like Trade Zero.
What does your day look like? You mentioned you got up, you know, comparatively late, by US standards.
So I think like the end of the day is the difficult bit because I tend to with trading I tend to try and shut off like it's 9 p.m. So that's when the market closes. That's when I tend to try and shut off. So I will usually do around an hour of analysis, breaking down my trades from the day. What did I miss? Just save charts. And I just try and save as much as I can. And then anything that I don't do, I just shift to the morning and I'll do first thing. But I tend to like because of the time of day, I tend to try and shut off as quickly as I can because I want to be able to sleep. And I think like the times where I've ended up trading after hours and things like that, I tend to have a poor sleep and it tends to roll over a little bit in the and into the next day. But I think that's just me. Like I think like if you could easily, if you wanted to, if you could easily wake up at 11 o'clock local time and then go to bed at like 1 or 2 when the market closes. I just want to sort of have like a quite normal, I suppose, quite a normal routine in that I tend to get up at 9, sometimes a bit, sometimes earlier actually, but I'm sort of in bed 11, 12 o'clock. And I'm just trying to sort of chill really and just try and unwind and just try and, otherwise I just end up, I don't know, I just end up
Yeah.
dreaming charts and
Mhm.
candlesticks and
Yeah.
tape and things like that. And I'm like, that's not healthy.
Yeah, yeah. If you could avoid that, I guess from the perspective of someone in the states, it seems actually kind of nice that you can wake up and do a lot of the stuff that we might be doing here after hours. You have an
Yeah,
entire
yeah.
longer pre-market, so I guess it could just kind of roll over and kind of work out for you.
Yeah, definitely. And like one thing that when I another mistake, not mistake necessarily, but like one thing I sort of instantly thought is I'm British. I've got the time zone on my side. I'm going to trade at 4 o'clock every morning, and I'm going to look for opportunities. And I just found myself actually like that's a really long day. And you know, kudos to anyone that's able to do it. Um, and I just found myself like almost forcing it a little bit. So actually, I'm trying to shift myself. Even in the morning, I'm trying to just chill a little bit, like enjoy breakfast, work out, um, and just try and have, yeah, I suppose just have a relatively normal day.